And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the benefits of both of these too, because there are benefits when it comes to harm reduction. So these things, they look a lot dirtier. This is not like a clean person's thing. Woo, you can smell that. Okay, there's a lot to unpack in today's video. First, we're going to spend some time talking about ZYN as compared to a traditional dip product like Skoal and what the differences are between the two. Then we're going to spend some time talking about these little guys. And then I want to discuss a bit more about what's going on politically. I'm sure you guys have all seen, those of you who are invested in ZYN, the uproar that the social media world is having regarding Chuck Schumer's commentary on potential regulations or even a ban on products like ZYN and flavored tobacco and non-tobacco nicotine-containing products in general. Okay, so we're going to talk about all that stuff in today's video, so bear with me because this is fascinating stuff if you understand the history of tobacco companies and nicotine companies and how they work. First of all, ZYN is a nicotine pouch. It's tobacco free. And ZYN, this is the wintergreen 3 milligram flavor. It contains, this is what a pouch looks like, it has nicotine salts in it. So they take, I think it's free-base nicotine, and they combine it with benzoic acid, and that's how you get a nicotine salt. Okay, these are the little lip pillows, and you put these in your lip, upper or lower lip, and you suck on them. And that's how the nicotine gets absorbed buccally into your bloodstream. Nicotine salts are what can create that throat hit in a vape product. They're also what, for the ZYN user, creates a lot of that throat irritation and raspiness. The nicotine salts do that. And they use nicotine salts because they get absorbed into your bloodstream much quicker than, say, like a free-base nicotine. And they exit your bloodstream much quicker as well, leaving the user with more frequent, more intense bouts of withdrawal. That's why you see people going through like 1-2 tins of ZYN a day. They constantly need to have a ZYN in when they're using it, all right? So that's ZYN. Now, very important. ZYN was originally owned by some Swedish company, I think Swedish Match, who owns General Snus products, okay? They are now currently owned, and this is very important to understand the politics of this, by Big Tobacco, specifically Altria, who owns Philip Morris. This is the same Big Tobacco company, everyone knows Philip Morris and Altria, who bought Juul from Juul Labs. And this is very, very important, okay? Because right after Big Tobacco purchased Juul from Juul Labs, the two guys who invented Juul, for billions of dollars, Big Tobacco was sued for all the wrongdoings of Juul. And they were very, very hesitant to buy Juul, actually, if you understand the history about this stuff, because they looked at it and they said, this is crazy. How is Juul getting away with this marketing? How are they getting away with products like this? And they actually tried to make a bunch of their own products, but they failed. And Big Tobacco did what Big Tobacco does best. They simply purchased the company. They noticed the same trend with ZYN. They said, this is crazy. They're selling a lot of this. We need to buy them. So now what happened? Big Tobacco, like when they purchased Juul, purchased ZYN. Their sales are, I think, approaching 1 billion cans, or are already in the billions of cans. And now the government has their eye on it. Why? Absolutely, it has to do with teenage use and in youth abusing these products. I work in high schools helping kids quit nicotine and weed products, and these are rampant in the high schools, okay? They're everywhere. But I'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit. But the government, it's not for your health, okay? They see this as an opportunity to suck more money out of Big Tobacco. And then what happens? You get all of this money, hundreds of millions of dollars from Philip Morris, and they will. Eventually they're going to sue them, and this is going to take the same fate that Juul took, okay? Whether it's flavor restrictions or restrictions on sales altogether, it's going to be something like that. There's going to be massive lawsuits that come out of it. That money then gets funneled into other anti-tobacco programs and campaigns and things like that. Things that even I've been a part of. So I really know how this works. At the end of the day, though, it all comes down to money. You have to follow the money. And this is a very, very good way to do what the government loves to do best, which is suing big tobacco. Okay, which I'm not blaming them for that. I'm not saying that's good or bad inherently. I'm just saying that's what this is about. Now, there might be some other factors behind the scenes. Other tobacco companies might be involved when it comes to this, and you know, ZYN and all that stuff. I'm not really sure. But as far as I see it, as this is just another excellent opportunity at a big money grab. And then that money can get dispersed among various other government programs and funding, and it goes to fund a bunch of stuff, essentially, typically in the tobacco cessation space, which for me is great news because that's the space that I'm in. Okay, I help people quit this stuff, but that's really what's going on politically here. And I think ZYN is going to follow a very similar fate to Juul. Now, Philip Morris Alteria, they knew this when they know this stuff because they just went through this with Juul. But whatever, they get sued for $200, $300, $700 million, whatever it is, I have no idea. It doesn't matter. They're still walking away with the profits that they got. And they're still now walking away with a younger demographic that could potentially be set up to be lifetime nicotine users. Here's the fascinating thing, and where I largely disagree with government entities. These products they're not promoted by big tobacco. At least the big tobacco does a lot of shady stuff, but not these days. It's too shady. They're not out there paying influencers. They're not out there paying Tucker Carlson. Legally, they know they really can't do that, or they'd be in a lot of trouble, and they don't need to. The thing about big tobacco, unlike a product like this, is their products promote themselves. Tucker Carlson pops in an upper decky, loves it, and then decides to openly promote it on his own, not being forced to, because he was an ex-smoker and he feels that this is an excellent form of harm reduction for anyone who smokes or potentially even vapes, okay? So he promotes it. Then you have other influencers online, usually younger males about my age, especially in the ZYN community, the dip communities. And when they find a product they love, they just promote it, they tell their friends about it, and it just sells itself. Big tobacco is fascinating in that when it comes to their products, they don't need to do marketing. They're not legally allowed to, for the most part, because this isn't necessarily a tobacco product. So I'm sure there is some gray area there when it comes to marketing of this. But I digress, because people promote the products to other people. Period. High schoolers promote this to other high schoolers. Big tobacco doesn't need to send in a psyop to try and sell this. Kids sell it to kids. Parents who get addicted get their kids interested, and then so on and so forth, okay? So that's why I strongly disagree with Chuck Schumer and a lot of stuff that they're saying about big tobacco marketing, and that's why we fail over and over again, because they're always like, okay, let's just attack big tobacco companies who own this. I'm not saying it's a tobacco product. I understand it's a nicotine salt, but they're like, let's attack it there, when in reality, they're not even They have nothing to do with that anymore, aside from selling the product. It sells itself among people because the education is so poor on things like this. Now, that's ZYN. That's what's going on politically. Personally, I'm seeing people get all types of bad side effects. I think we're going to see a lot of stomach problems in the future. I think we're going to see a lot of throat problems. And remember, you're always increasing your risk for an oral cancer anytime you repetitively damage a tissue over and over again, whether that's with something harsh like a nicotine salt pouch or a tobacco pouch. Now, though, let's talk a little bit about the differences between these two. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the benefits of both of these too, because there are benefits when it comes to harm reduction. U.S. Smokeless has actually applied similar to General Snus, which we'll talk about that too, for a harm reduction stamp from the FDA. Okay, so this is Skoal. This is from U.S. Smokeless Tobacco Company, and these are tobacco pouches. So these things, they look a lot dirtier. This is not like a clean person's thing. Woo, you can smell that. ZYN, as I showed you earlier, is a very clean looking. It's a very clean product. Okay, now tobacco products, when it comes to dip, the differences in how they're these are curated. The tobacco leaves are curated through a process using heat. And anytime you burn something, you create carcinogens and cancer-causing things. Okay, that's why dip and chewing tobacco products, which this is a dip product. Dip, you like dip it into your lip. Chewing tobacco is like the big leaves that you jam in the back of your mouth. I never was into traditional chew. I was into dip products and pouches and stuff. It's the fire curated process that creates, they're called tobacco specific nitrosamines or TSNAs, I think, or TSNs or something. That's what increases the risk of getting cancer when you're doing something like this. A product like ZYN is just nicotine salts. It doesn't contain those tobacco-specific nitrosamines or nitrogens or whatever they're called, okay? Just a nicotine product. Kind of like Nicorette gum, to be honest, okay? Probably a lot more irritating to the gums, though, and maybe there's some other questionable stuff. Then you have something like general snus or snus or snus pouches, however you pronounce it. And those are created through a pasteurization process that is like, it's not cold pressed, but I'll just say it's like pasteurized versus curated through the process of heating it. So in snus products, they don't heat their tobacco. So you have significantly lower levels of tobacco-specific nitrosamines or cancer-causing things. And that's been proven. Now, I actually get a lot more people calling our offices to quit this and to quit your traditional Swedish snus products than I do dip products, okay? And I think that's because a lot of people who consume these or who consume traditional Swedish snus products, it's such a high volume. They're consuming so much of it. I think that's why. And I never did well with ZYN. I never did well with nicotine pouches or snus products. I never did well with them. I never reacted well. I never felt good with them. So I was never super hooked on these things myself. But those are the differences between ZYN, Skoal, and then a product like General Snus or, traditional Swedish snus. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Those are the differences. Now, why isn't this under attack the same way this is? Well, this is not rampant in the high schools. You don't got a bunch of kids walking around with water bottles spitting black tobacco into them, brown tobacco. This is discreet. This largely solves the vaping problem in the bathrooms in the high schools. It's really, really popular on social media. You have a lot of mega influencers who use these products and enjoy these products and who promote them, which I think they're going to regret doing down the line, but only time will tell. That's what the problem is. The opportunity politically is the government now has another chance, as do multiple law firms, multiple schools, multiple state-run organizations, to sue big tobacco yet again for multi-millions, if not billions of dollars. But big tobacco knows this. If they're paying any attention, they should have seen this coming from a mile away, because it's the same thing that happened with Juul. But they're always a few steps ahead. They bought ZYN the moment they noticed it selling from Swedish Match or whatever it was, because that's how they've always operated. This is nothing. This is right out of Alteria Philip Morris's playbook. We see a product that's taking off, that's in the nicotine space. We purchase it. We blow it up. We make it huge. We get sued, but hey, we get to walk away with the profits anyways in the meantime. So that's really what's going on here. Now, I make a product that's tobacco-free, nicotine-free. It's a chewing gum product, okay? Tastes really good. It's mint flavored. It's like an earthy mint. I don't know how to describe it. It's not like an artificial mint. It's like an earthy mint flavor. It's Kick It Crave Less chewing gum. This is a chewing gum that you use like you use a tobacco pouch or a ZYN pouch. You chew it into gum formation and then you suck on it. It contains KSM-66 ashwagandha and N-acetylcysteine. So it doesn't give you a buzz, but it definitely, there's a feeling. There's like a good feeling that comes along with it. KSM-66 ashwagandha is clinically shown to reduce stress, to reduce anxiety, to increase testosterone, to reduce cortisol levels, and to help with muscle recovery. KSM-66 is also shown to increase adrenaline and help with focus, very similar to how nicotine works. N-acetylcysteine has been proven to reduce cravings for nicotine, amphetamines, alcohol, sugar, cannabis, but particularly nicotine. N-acetylcysteine is also really good when it comes to supporting healthy dopamine production. So I combined KSM-66 and NAC into a chewing gum to not only help people quit products like ZYN and like Skull and like vaping and cigarettes, but to also give people those same benefits that you get from nicotine, but without all the side effects of nicotine. Right? Reduce cravings, increase focus, reduce stress. What more could you ask for? So you can find this in the pinned comment or the video description, or there should be like a link for my shop. Check this out if you're trying to quit these products. And hey, sooner than later, you might be looking for an alternative, because I'm telling you, the lifespan on ZYN is running out soon. They're going to have a hard time because it's not a tobacco product, and I don't know what the regulation is on nicotine. It's kind of like guns, right? So like, I'm from New York. You can ban an AR-15, but it's based on how an AR-15 looks. So if you change the design of an AR-15, you can still buy an AR-15. It just looks different than a traditional AR-15. This isn't technically a tobacco product, so I don't know what all the rules and regulations are when it comes to nicotine. I can tell you what it is going to be, though. They're still going to get slapped, but they probably have the money to buy their way out of it in this case, because it's not tobacco. But if they get slapped hard enough by enough school districts, enough states, enough cities, enough towns, and then the federal government, they might not bounce back. They might have to just take the profits and walk away. And then that goes to, as well, what about all the other vapes? What about why not Rogue? Why not sue Rogue? Why not sue Velo? Why not sue On nicotine pouches? Because Philip Morris, Alteria, they are the ones who have all the money. Juul was where the money, they sued Juul and then they moved on. There's still tons of disposable vapes. Vaping is still a massive problem. And this actually might be a solution to that for a lot of people, a solution to smoking, a form of harm reduction. This is, in my professional opinion, a form of harm reduction. I'd much rather see someone dip than smoke cigarettes, or maybe even vape too, maybe. But there's not money in those other companies like there is in Alteria or Philip Morris. That's why they want to sue them. That's why they're going after them. And you know, look, at the end of the day, even though I help people quit these products, this is really good. I'm starting to get that sensation from the KSM-66 and the N-acetylcysteine. It's like, it's not a buzz. I don't know how to describe it, but these are it's minty when you bite into it. It gives you like a refreshing burst when you first bite into it, which is great if you have a craving and you have that oral fixation problem and you need like a burst of something. It's kind of like awakening. Anyways, I don't call for a ban on anything, because I do think we've got a lot of people away from smoking cigarettes. I do think we're getting a lot of people away from vaping. And I think it's happening with a product that I think is complete garbage. I think this product's complete garbage. I think nicotine is garbage. But we're doing it with a product that's being made by big tobacco. And love them or hate them, they are regulated. So it's not like just in some random guy's basement that's making these pouches. It's probably in a very regulated facility, okay? And that ultimately is a good thing. Unlike the thousands of different types of disposable vapes that you see out there on the market today that are totally unregulated, that we have no idea what people are getting from them. So I'm not calling for a ban on this stuff. I'm calling for more education, because we know the war on drugs has failed. The war on nicotine and tobacco has failed terribly. It's worked for cigarettes, but that's because you'd have to be stupid to keep smoking. I say that as someone who smoked for years and suffered with addiction, but really it's dumb, especially when you have all these other alternative products out there. So that failed in and of itself. And tobacco knew that smoking was going to die eventually. They knew that. Too many people were dying. They knew that. Their customers were dying. But attacking them and suing them and federal bans on things, I don't like it. I'll help if Chuck Schumer called me and he said, hey, how do we get kids to quit this stuff? Hell, if Philip Morris called me and said, how do we get this out of the hands of kids? I'd be happy to help with that. But I'll never support a ban on anything. All right, guys, I hope this video helps. I hope it sheds some light on the topic. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think about these products? What have you experienced that's good or bad about these products? And what's your opinion? Do you think I hit the nail on the head when it comes down to the money? Follow the money and you'll get your answers, right? All right, these are going into a garbage can. I'll see you guys later. Check out the gum. This stuff is good.